All right, good morning, Bulldogs. Here's your assignment today. So yesterday we talked about Crane Brinton's theory of revolutions and the idea that those 7 causes, of revolution can be seen in multiple revolutions throughout history. So things like the Haitian Revolution, the Russian Revolution, and of course what we're studying today, the French Revolution. So we talked yesterday about the 3 main causes. I actually say SEF, social inequality, which is number 3 of Crane Brinton's theory. The Enlightenment ideas coming back in and suggesting maybe this isn't the best way to live, maybe this isn't the best way to be governed, and that is number 4 of Crane Brinton's theory. And then additionally, the financial crisis, right? This idea that they are in deep, deep, deep debt, right? There's like just overspending happening, deficit spending happening, and that is your number 7 of Crane Brinton's theory. So today we're actually going to look at what happens, right? So we know that these are some of the causes, but how does it actually play out? So today you are going to read the reading causes, of the French Revolution beginning. Mr. Daniels put this together and he did a great job. This is actually a compilation of really he whittled down a big chapter of information and a lot of other sources. He whittled it down to just what you need, but also kept it interesting. So he did a great job with this. What I would like for you to do is get out this old-fashioned idea, right, of a piece of notebook paper, right? As you read, I would like for you to take some notes over each section. So, for example, the beginning of the French Revolution, I would title my page, beginning of the French Revolution, and then what do you get from this section, right? So, what is it that you can figure out from this introduction, right, that we are going to be talking about? So, for example, anytime you see, right, a list of things, so ideas of Enlightenment, American Revolution, social inequality, right, are going to be causes. It also says the immediate causes were much more pressing. See how there's a kind of semicolon? It means we're going to list important things after that. So I would write financial crisis, famine, weak leadership, and discontent in the third estate, right? So the third estate being mad, right, are the things that are coming, like these are the causes. Right, then I would go down to my next little section, right? Immediate causes of the French Revolution, and I would write it, right? Immediate causes. So the first one is deficit spending. Anywhere there is purple and gold, I would add that to my notes on my paper. And, I would make sure that if there's any information around that, right, I would add that as well so that it makes sense. So, for example, I would add the definition of deficit spending, and I would maybe list, after that, it tells you all of the stuff that they had been spending money on, right? It also might be a little bit about, down here, here's a name that's in purple and gold. If you just write a Jacques Necker right here, that's not going to be helpful, right? So instead, write who this guy was. Oh, he's an economic advisor. And then what did he suggest doing, right? And then he unfortunately gets fired for suggesting it, right? If you go down here, the next section is about the Estates General, and the Estates General is when the king calls all 3 estates together for the first time in 175 years. Again, remember, kings aren't going to call everybody together and ask for advice because they are absolutists, but this gives you an idea of how desperate the king was at this point to get some help with the national debt situation, and so he calls everybody together. The first, second, and third estate show up, and if you guys remember our simulation from class, and if you read right here, you'll find out that they're going to vote by order instead of by hand, and so I would probably write something about, man, the third estate showed up. They really thought they were going to have a voice in making some changes, getting some more representation and power, and then ultimately they don't get that because they vote by order instead of by hand. The first estate gets 1 vote, the second estate gets 1 vote, the third estate gets 1 vote, which means the first and second estate will always gang up and overwhelm, right, the third estate's vote. They just simply can't win, and they don't have a voice. Right? So I would write a little bit about, when the Estates General decides, to actually create a third estate leaves, they decide to create the National Assembly. They declare the Tennis Court Oath. Please write what the Tennis Court Oath is, maybe a little bit about de Lafayette and who he was. Right, and then the last paragraph is about the Great Fear, so I'd write a little bit about that. When you are finished with your notes, right, take a look. Mr. Daniels cited his sources with MLA citations. Then please go to your interactive notebook. Go to slide 10. I realize that we are skipping around, right, and that's on purpose, but go ahead and go to slide 10. And please fill out, using your notes that you wrote, right, some summary of deficit spending. Okay, what is deficit spending? Who is Jacques Necker, right? Okay, what were they spending it on? Like, what was the situation, right? Then use your notes to tell me a little bit about, okay, the king calling together the Estates General. What is the Estates General? How did that go, right? And then the tennis court oath, right? Again, use your notes to talk about what the tennis court was, what the Third Estate's goal was, right? Okay, that type of thing. All right, then here's your options. Your options for today's points are, you can either take a picture of your notebook page with your Chromebook camera or with your cell phone, and you can submit that to this assignment in Google Classroom, or you can do a screenshot of this page 10, right? I realize you will not have the Storming of the Bastille filled out, and that's okay because we're going to talk about that tomorrow. But you can also do a screenshot of these 3 boxes, and you can turn that in, right? You do not have to turn in both, but you can either turn in your notes here that you have handwritten, or you can turn in a screenshot of this page, right? Either one will get you your points. Either one will tell me that you've gone through it and you've really thought about it and processed it. All right. Next time I see you and we talk in class or out of class, we're going to find out that things get really ugly at this point, right? Really, we feel like the things that have happened at Versailles so far have been like orderly, right? It's people meeting, it's politics, right? But what's going on outside of Versailles is starvation and anger and fear, and that is going to boil over, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. All right, guys, if you have questions, make sure you email, and I will be Zooming at 1:45 today if you would like to join me. All right, have a great day.